Hello and welcome to True Crime Diary, a light-hearted podcast on a serious subject. Every 2 weeks we look back through true crime stories to discuss an event that took place on this week in history. I'm your host Mark Decana, and with me as always are my friends Jed Lester.
Hello.
And Rue Turner.
Hello.
So the date we're looking at this time is the 7th of November. In 1974, Sandra Rivett, a nanny in a well-to-do house in Belgravia, London, was brutally bludgeoned to death in the kitchen of her employer's home. Her employer was one Lord Lucan, who immediately went on the run and has never been found.
Or has he?
I think, like in other murder stories, or just stories, the hideousness of what apparently, well, not apparently, did occur gets lost. Because I would say that we're going to go on to talk about it, but the Lord Lucan mystery, or whatever we keeps going, is still, still going on now. Yeah. And it's just an ongoing, whatever, where is he kind of story. And I would say most people now, not then, would know who he is, but they'd have no clue that he was potentially or actually involved a hideous murder. It's just Lord Lucan on the whatever, in Loch Ness or whatever.
On the moon with Elvis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's like mythologized. It's, Lord Lucan is in the same sentence as things like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
The Bermuda Triangle.
Only Lord Lucan did exist at one point. Neither of the other things exist.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Ooh, where am I? You'll never find me. Never, I tell you.
How old was he in 74? I'm going to guess how old they always look older, don't they?
I'd say mid to early 30s.
God, would you? He looked like 60, basically, didn't he? Dapper cad looking kind of person.
He was a proper dapper Dan.
Was he? How old was he?
39.
Oh. So call it 40 for ease of maths.
Or 39 for ease of accuracy.
So 24 is 50. So if he's alive, he's 9. Is he not even 90?
He'd be 90
next year, yeah.
Right, so he could easily...
Which means he's 89.
Oh, yeah. You're right. So he could easily...
He's not even 89.
No,
he's 89 next month.
He's 89.
Yeah. Right, okay. So he could easily be alive. And that's basically why the story continues, where is he?
Yeah, exactly.
He's unlikely to be alive at 90 if he was born then.
As every day passes, the odds are increasingly against him. You said that he was dapper. He is very dapper. He was at one time considered for the role of the upcoming James Bond franchise.
Now, he's still English. He's still aristocratic. But he's got human warmth. He's a human James Bond.
The Broccolis might have regretted that one.
Yeah,
it would have been a very short...
Well, hang on. Was he an actor?
He was not an actor, but what he was...
That's why he didn't get the role.
Was a man who raced powerboats, drove an Aston Martin...
Oh, Christ, right, okay.
Killed people,
gambled...
Absolutely, yeah.
Was violent towards women.
Yeah.
As we now know.
Perfect choice.
Perfect choice for James. But yeah, it was very much because he lived the life that was portrayed in the novel. Apart from
that's that's a weird way of casting, isn't it?
It's not ideal.
No. For Moonraker, get me an astronaut. Roger Moore will have to do. Right, okay. So he lived the life.
He lived the life, yes. Very expensive tastes, lots of gambling.
Yeah, I was going to say plenty of time in casinos.
Yep.
Richard John Bingham.
Yep.
He wouldn't have been Lord Lucan until his father passed away. So he wasn't Lord Lucan until 1964, 10 years before he disappeared. But he would have been a lord. He would have been Lord Bingham. He wouldn't have had the Earl of Lucan until then.
Yep.
Right.
That's how titles work. And his son obviously wouldn't inherit the title of Lord Lucan until his death.
Is official.
Until his official death.
Which it isn't.
Which it was declared in 1999.
Oh, okay. So there is currently a Lord Lucan.
There is currently the 8th Earl of Lucan, yes.
I'd have rebranded. If you
may call me Steve.
Exactly. Yeah. My name's Steve.
Actually, I think it's George.
Well, I'd definitely call myself George.
Otherwise, it could get confusing. So you're... He goes, I'm Lord Lucan.
Found him!
Really? He's there. Doesn't look anything like him.
It's not me. You're mistaken.
So, I mean, you're talking like the classic sort of prep school, you know.
What did he do? Did he do anything? Was it just inherited wealth?
It was inherited wealth, yeah.
So he just had money.
He was in the army for a while, and then he did banking. So he was earning good money as a banker.
Yep.
But he was a big gambler.
Right.
So he was living effectively on daddy's money.
It's been handed down from goof to goof to goof.
He married Veronica Duncan.
Yep.
But they did not get on. They had a struggling marriage, although they had 3 kids.
I wonder, how does that happen?
I think the kids came first and the struggle came after. Probably because they had 3 kids.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
You know, he had wife and kids, but he had this flamboyant lifestyle. So he would go out.
But he had that anyway, didn't he?
Exactly. But it's not going to be tied down to the family lifestyle, is it? He's going out in the middle of the day, gambling till the early hours of the morning. And then you go and sleep, and then you get up and go gambling.
Do it again. Yeah.
Drank bourbon, smoked cigars, played poker with the boys till 9:15 this morning. Came directly to the office. Never felt better in my life.
So the house that they had, the family home that they had moved into, he then moved out of. The family home being in Belgravia, as I said, in Lower Belgrave Street, which is a very posh part of London. Which we've seen.
Yes, which we have. Yeah, we went there. Me and Mark went there in about
and lived to tell the tale.
In the late 80s, when I would say there was. All right, perhaps it's died. The tale has died down a bit now, but it went on and on and on. Actually, come to think of it, we probably only went there about 13 years after the murder.
Actually, that's probably right. Yeah.
So it was.
It was still a huge story.
Yeah, it was, but it was
a long time.
But it was a. I would still say it was a story of a figure of fun and hey, you've seen where is he kind of.
Yeah.
But we went there deliberately. I mean, we didn't. I don't think we were like, we're near. Do you know what? We're near Lord Luke. We deliberately went to London to go and stand outside his house.
Yeah.
And I took some pictures of us walking past it, and I vividly remember us being really scared.
Yes. What if he comes out and hits
or I don't know, people who. I wonder who lives there now. Do you think it's sold off to someone else?
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea.
I presume it was, but anyway, understandably, if it was, they would be like, "What are you doing?" You know, shaking their fist.
God damn it! This is my house.
Not that we were doing anything. We were doing literally nothing. We walked on the pavement past it, and I remember,
as a million pedestrians have done before you.
Yeah. And I remember you and me, or whoever, were on the other side of the street, meaning even further away, and then one of us would walk past it, and then I'd take
just
some
to
pictures.
get a completely innocuous photo of someone walking down a street.
Yeah, and
looks like almost any other street.
But I remember us being like, "Oh God, we've got to get out of it," after like barely 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, it's a very, very, very nice street and house, and now it will be worth, I don't know, 25 million quid, basically.
Easily.
But I would say our point of our reason for going was not in any way because it was a hideous murder. I would say we didn't even think about that. It was it was the fact that it was he looks like an oaf. And where is he, basically? And, well, he's in Brazil, he's on the moon, he's in whatever. And so, therefore, it was funny.
Maybe he's hiding under his bed. Maybe he's stashed away in some filing cabinet under F for fruitcake.
Yeah.
Which is terrible, really, if you think back at it. Now that we're about to describe the hideous what occurred. But,
But in mythological, I mean, the equivalent, in my mind, I always think of the equivalent in the US would be like Jimmy Hoffa. as a public figure who had just disappeared.
Yes.
And was suspected of criminal activity.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, it's like the joke in the US is kind of, he's buried next to Jimmy Hoffa.
Right,
that sort of thing.
But it works because the story works because he is an earl and a lord and loaded and a cad and a bounder and
a coward.
And it just perpetuates the tale. When we spoke about the Great Train Robbery, the one in the 60s, or whenever it was.
Yeah.
The public perception of that, even though obviously there weren't murders going on, but the public perception for years and years and years was, all right, Ronnie,
yeah.
He's a lad, isn't he? Yeah, it wasn't like, you roistered oyster.
Yeah, he was the most rubbish of all the robbers.
Yeah.
But because he got away, he was on the run.
Yeah. And he garnered
the story kept going.
Column inches.
Exactly.
And everyone was like, hey, Ronnie. And, all right, fine. In this instance, you can't, Lord Lucan didn't perpetuate it. The press perpetuated it. Yeah. The reason why was because no one knew what was going on, and he was an interesting character.
Exactly, yeah. So he moved to another property, and they basically started a custody battle for the children, which he then lost.
My father used to say children are like carpets. They should be stepped on occasionally.
And apparently this was a major deal for him. He's sort of getting really obsessive. He's getting a temper. Plus, he was also, because he was an inveterate gambler, he was incredibly in debt as well. So also, he was on meds because he had insomnia. So he would take drugs to sleep.
Yeah.
Then wake up like midday, go to the casino, gamble all night.
Right. And then take diet pills through the night.
And then basically take sleepers.
Wow.
So it was an erratic day-to-day routine. He's becoming very suspicious of his ex-wife. He hires a private detective to follow her and the children. So now he's basically a gambling addict and an obsessive stalker of his family.
Bam! Smash! Bits of emotion flying everywhere. Anger, frustration, denial, fear. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so now it's painting a slightly different picture.
Yeah, a control freak who's not in control.
Exactly, yeah. Sure. There are a series of nannies who get hired and fired for a short period of time.
Died.
They haven't all died.
Okay.
Now, they had a nanny named Jenkins who had been sacked because, according to Lucan, it's because nobody could work for Veronica, the wife, because she was a difficult person to work for. Okay. One had had a long time. And then they had a series of replacement nannies, one of whom apparently, wife Veronica, said that Lucan had hit her with his cane and another time pushed her down the stairs. So he had been violent towards previous nannies.
According to his estranged wife.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, both of them, in accounts that they're giving to friends, it's always the other one did this and the other one did that.
They're stuck with each other. They've got to ride all the way to the end of the line, and it's a one-way trip, and the last stop is the cemetery.
Then they get a nanny called Sandra Rivett.
Yep.
She had a boyfriend named John Hankins, and they would meet on Thursday nights. Now, on a day in 1974, she changed the night and instead was in that Thursday.
Whereas ordinarily she would have been out.
She would have been out.
Okay. Right. Interesting.
Now, on that day, she had put the children to bed.
Good night.
And then she went to the basement kitchen to make a cup of tea for Lady Lucan. But when she entered the room, a killer beat her to death with a lead pipe. Well, not quite to death, because she did live long enough to let out a scream and name her attacker as Lord Lucan.
Which what? Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. Lord Lucan!
He beat her with a pipe and then tried to stuff her into a mail bag.
I mean, I would say he's very, very recognisable.
Yeah.
So,
especially to people who know him well.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna
the father of the children you look after,
and who you kind of work for. Yeah. But he's very recognisable, basically, isn't he? Regardless of that.
Yeah. Lady Lucan, she comes down the stairs to see what's happening, and then the attacker attacked her.
Right.
She screamed.
Well, hang on. That kind of then makes me think it wasn't him.
Well, the nanny was supposed to be out, so if he was going to attack anybody, he would have presumed that he would presume.
I see what you mean. Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So,
as you were.
If it was someone who was there to the purpose of murder, then they would theoretically know that the animal wouldn't be there. If it was just a random rando, just attack
unfortunate timing.
Yeah. However, when she screamed out, the attacker told her to shut up.
Shut up!
And she recognised her husband's voice.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Or so she claims, because obviously we only have her story, because Sandra Rivett was killed.
Yes.
And Lord Lucan disappeared. So the only account of what happened is the wife. Yeah. A woman who has considerable motive to point in this direction.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Life would get a bit better for her if
he's not around.
This estranged husband is put down for murder.
Gambling away all of their money.
Yes. Right. Okay. Yeah.
So they fought. She bit his fingers. He knocked her to the ground. She grabbed and squeezed his testicle, which made him give up the fight. And then they had a little chat.
As you do.
Let's not bicker and argue about who killed who.
Well, that seems a bit weird, but...
Yeah.
If you've just been beaten over the head with a lead pipe by someone, you don't then start, working with them. Unless you're, frightened of continued beatings.
She asked him where Rivett was. He admitted that he'd killed her, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so everything's coming from her. All this chat.
Yeah. Then she claims that she said she would help him escape.
Seems unlikely.
Well, I don't know.
This is all possible, just self-preservation kind of.
Yeah, violent man holding a lead pipe, wanting a chat.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Having just killed someone who he thought was her.
Yeah.
I killed the nanny in the kitchen with the lead pipe.
Like that!
They went upstairs to one of the bedrooms, and obviously they're covered in blood. She asked him to put towels on the bed.
Towel! I need a towel over here!
And he went into the bathroom to get towels, and then while he was in there, she fled.
Go and never darken my towels again.
I was about to say, this is too civil for my liking, but she ran off.
She ran off.
Where? Out of the house?
Out of the house.
Well, hang on, weren't there
Down the very road that you ran.
Yeah.
Down to the plumber's arms.
Where were the kids?
Well, asleep.
I
Sleeping through all the clubbing and screaming.
I find that bizarre that she would just run away.
Well, she went to raise the alarm. She went to the pub.
All right. But before she raised the alarm, she had a nice steak meal.
She had a pint at the local. Yeah.
A gin and orange.
And a quick game of bingo.
Where were you when this horrible crime was committed?
I was home drinking tea.
Yeah, it just seems a bit...
It all seems a bit.
Well, it all seems a bit, as you say.
Hello, my name's Mark DeCano and I host the Comedy in a Nutshell podcast, in which I talk with those in and around the comedy circuit, and most especially the comedians, about what comedy means to them.
Simon Amstel plus Lena Dunham plus Mr. Blobby. I thought that would be a good combo.
Every gig you get is somebody else not getting a gig.
Sometimes I've had people pull out a notepad and I've been like, oh no, thank you.
You are a jester and you're here to bring light relief to people's lives.
Somebody at the end was like, oh my God, she's dirty. And I was like, thank you very much.
My boyfriend says he feels like he has to tread very carefully because he was like, I know that everything has the potential to become material.
I can now give to people and they definitely in that moment are having a good time.
So if you want to know more about what comedy means to the people at its heart, then hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Comedy in a Nutshell, wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Fringe, baby!
Incom the police. Detective Chief Superintendent Ranson arrived on the scene. So there's no forced entry into the house.
Yes, because he had a key.
Loads of blood on the stairs, a blood-stained lead pipe on the floor, and then blood in the garden, obviously where he had then fled.
He vanished into skinny air, disappeared even.
They searched his flat in Eaton Row, where they found his car keys, his driver's license, his passport, and his car. Now, he had borrowed a car, which they found later on, a Ford Corsair. He'd borrowed that, and they found it 16 miles away. And in the boot was a lead pipe wrapped in surgical tape and a full bottle of vodka.
Interesting. A full bottle?
Full bottle.
So it's either he didn't drink, or he drank the other bottle.
Now this be the foulest crime of all, a wasting of good spirits.
Now, the guy who owned the car that he'd been using, a man named Michael Stoop, he got a letter from Lord Lucan They said, I've had a traumatic night of unbelievable coincidence.
It's all about him, isn't it?
Yes.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. I've had this and this and that. He's basically saying everyone's conspiring against me.
No sort of shock that someone's murdered my nanny and beaten my wife.
Yeah. He wrote, talking about the ghastly circumstances that had arisen.
Because that's how murders happen. They just arise.
They just arise,
They're also ghastly. I mean, currently there's no kind of suggestion that it was anyone other than him who did it. It's not like it was a burglar kind.
No, at no point.
No.
But what he stated in this letter to his friend was that he encountered the scene.
Yeah.
And then fled.
Because the circumstantial evidence doesn't look good. The letters are saying something bad has happened to me.
Right.
I'm in a pickle. Yeah. I'm in a situation. I've got these problems. I need help. I need to hide. I need this. Not about them.
Yeah. Never mind the nightmare bloodbath house of death that I just ran out of. I'm in a pickle.
Yeah.
I am in a pickle!
Wasn't there some notion that he may have mistaken Rivett for his wife?
Like I say, she was supposed to be on night off.
Yeah.
So he'd burst in and
would he have definitely known
hit a woman in the dark.
He would have absolutely known that Rivett wasn't his wife. She's got long dark hair. His wife has short blonde hair.
I'm not talking about that, you idiot. I'm talking about the fact that would he have known it's her night off? Because he generally doesn't care about his...
Well, what about other people that exist?
True.
I mean, yeah, basically, yeah. And also, he does his gallivanting.
Yeah.
Oh, it reminds me, Thursdays. That's Sandra's night off.
He might not have been...
If you're planning a murder, you might...
Yeah, I was going to say, you might not be aware of it continuously, but at the point you decide you're going to go and bludgeon your wife to death, you're going to take note of when the house is empty.
I know what you mean. Yeah, okay.
There was an initial suspicion that he might have committed suicide, but I think we can tell pretty quickly from his self-obsession that it's probably unlikely that he was going to do that. Too much self-preservation. So a warrant for his arrest was issued for murder and attempted murder of Mrs. Lady Lucan, and they, in the first of many descriptions of his appearance, were released.
Yeah, of course.
Not only in the UK but to Interpol.
What do we think happened? Did he do it?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Definitely did
and
it.
Did he? Was it very, very unfortunate timing for the nanny when she didn't go out to meet her boyfriend?
Yeah,
I would also say yes.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate coincidence.
Yes.
What have we come to? Are we going to come to? I was going to say, are we going to come to who else it could have been? But we've got no other.
There's no other suspect at all.
No, because they've gone. Apart from the wife.
But nothing pointed at anything other than him.
Nothing pointed at anything.
Outside of him, there are no other suspects.
Yeah.
And everything points at him, and no one else is even... unless it was someone completely random who actually managed to have access to the flat and had the same height and build and voice of him.
Yes. Yeah.
It's going to sound like a dumb question, but what would it be his motive for killing her? Other than, I know they're not getting on.
Yeah.
But her absence, is it just his ego?
Probably. It's, ego. It's just about...
She's got motive because he's not very nice.
Yeah.
But ultimately, aside from the fact that he's had to or chosen to move out...
Well, if they're not getting on and she's giving him jip about his gambling, if he gets rid of her...
he could have just moved out. He's not hearing her jip about the gambling anymore.
Yeah, but he can sell the flat or and move back into the house.
But
get a new wife.
It's not like there's money to be had. There's only debt to be had.
There you go.
Which she's not increasing.
He didn't do it.
Oh, maybe he is innocent after all.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Well, it's a point. Isn't it? Why would he do it? Why would he have even thought about doing that? Why didn't he just stay in his flat and live a separate life if he hated her so much? But so, hang on. What happened to her, the wife? Is she alive?
Oh yeah.
She's alive.
Yeah.
And she's with us now.
Sandra? No, not Sandra.
The late Sandra is with us today.
Right. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if she never moved out of that house. Mind you,
Well, if it's part of the Lucan
Why on earth
estate,
would you not move out?
Just don't go down to the basement kitchen.
Maybe you can't sell it if it's part of the estate.
Well, the estate can.
I thought he was saying you can't sell it because there's been a murder in it. How many guest bedrooms there? It's got 3. What's that room? Don't go down there.
That's the murder room.
No, it's the the nannies. The playroom.
What kind of play exactly? So the last person who saw Lord Lucan was Susan Maxwell Scott, and she said that she saw him looking dishevelled with ruffled hair. Now this would have been obviously after the crime.
Oh, so after?
After. She wouldn't have known what had happened at that point. He had reported to her at that time that he had been walking past the house when he saw... Like we did. Yeah. He saw Veronica being attacked by a man.
Oh, yeah.
He saw her while he was in the street outside.
Well, he might have done. He could... Some of them have got windows from the pavement.
And his response to seeing that was to rush in, grab the pipe, put it in the boot and drive off.
Well, he said he went in, he let himself in because obviously he had keys to the house.
Yeah.
And he slipped in a pool of blood at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, sure.
And that the attacker had run off. And that Veronica, Lady Lucan, was hysterical and accused him, Lord Lucan, of having hired a hitman to kill her.
I mean, the notion of an assailant or other attacker running off, they presumably should quite easily be able to find the evidence that there was someone else.
Well, especially if there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
There would be footprints.
Exactly,
Right. Yes, okay.
So there was an inquiry, coroner's inquiry, and at the hearing it was the foreman of the inquiring jury declared that there had been murder and that the murder was done by Lord Lucan.
Wow. Okay. Most foul.
That is the belief. Yes. So now they're looking for him. But now he's basically been accused of murder, and that's the first time in like 200 years that had ever happened for a peer to be accused of murder.
Oh, right.
Basically, then he fled, and like you've been saying, it's just captured the popular imagination. There he is.
It's a conjuring trick, that's what it is. I saw a fella make a peanut disappear once.
So the last time he was definitely seen was literally like days later in 1974.
Are you sure you searched everywhere?
Since then, all the claims of him being seen are not only unsubstantiated, but wildly ridiculous in some cases. Let's talk about sightings.
Yes. Very good. Yeah.
He sticks out like a sore thumb. We'll find him.
Right. Yeah, he's been spotted all over the place.
Yeah.
Paris cafes, Irish pubs, New York taxi, driving a New York taxi.
Yeah. As happens when people always go on the run, everyone in the world suddenly sees them somewhere.
Yeah, go on then. Give us a.
I heard a scientist that there was an analysis of lookalikes.
Oh, right.
And I think it was it's somewhere around, like each of us has somewhere around a dozen people in the world
who look exactly like.
Yeah, like unmistakably the same person side by side.
Wow. Really?
Around the world.
And one of them was Lucan.
Could have been.
There's 11.
All of them.
I'm surprised there weren't more people who looked exactly like him.
Sure, he's got like slicked hair and a mustache.
Yeah.
The tabloid stories went on for years and years and years, basically.
Yeah.
Like front page.
Yeah.
Headlines. I would say it got into, there were endless, even though it's a horrendous thing, he became a joke figure.
But the point is that he's never been found.
Fine. Yeah.
He's missing, and then he's used sort of as a throwaway joke comment. That's like,
becomes a colloquial.
You never find him.
Yeah. And generation before us, been interesting to see what they think, because ours was definitely jokey.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I still say it's because of his name. The fact that he looked ridiculous. The photo was taken 100 years before, with his perfect moustache and his brilliant hair, and he lives in Mayfair. And it just, unfortunately, despite the hideous circumstance, everyone's like, "Hey, Lucan."
And it catches the imagination in the same way D.B. Cooper does, because we just don't know what happened. The story just ends, and we're all left wondering.
And also, like, as a point of reference, he's hugely famous, so everybody knows who he is. You, like, use a throwaway.
Be like one of the Kardashians disappearing.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Well, if there was a great piece in the newspaper, and it's basically saying what Lord Lucan could look like having disguised himself. And it's the same picture of him, like 10 times. Just one he had glasses drawn on.
Oh, right.
One he had a moustache drawn on.
So there was no AI involved?
No. It was literally like with a
grey hair.
Moustache.
Yeah.
Literally just drawn on this exact same photograph.
Try to imagine him in disguise with a hat, wigs, mustache, that sort of thing.
So give us a list of where he's been sighted.
He's been seen...
apart from the moon.
Shortly after the murder, there was a sighting, and it turned out to be John Stonehouse.
Well, I was going to mention him.
Oh, is that what you had?
Yeah, because he committed pseudocide, which is the act of pretending that you've killed yourself.
Yeah.
Just left a pile of clothes on the beach. After getting himself into massive debt, 800 grand debt, flew to Oz, 1973. Something's contemporaneous as well.
That's true.
Yeah. The one that I liked the most was when he was believed to be living the life of a hippie under the name of Jungle Barry in India. And after the photo was circulated with the police and that, it turned out that Jungle Barry was actually Barry Halpin from out of Mucky Duck Bush Band. And his mate Mike Harding, brackets, yes, that one, Mike Harding, said, no, that's Barry. It's from, he just looks like a kind of cat weasel type character.
I mean, how do you get that mixed up?
There was a man in 2020 in Australia, Brisbane was alleged to be him, using state-of-the-art facial recognition technology. He said that's definitely him.
Oh yeah.
It so isn't him. look at photographs of this guy. It's like, that's not him.
Yeah. So basically, there's no proof other than this supposed state-of-the-art technology that it's him. But he lives quietly in a suburban Buddhist commune in Brisbane.
That's what you do, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to do.
Yeah.
Well, the best one, of course, is in the national newspaper, the Sunday Sport.
Murder
riddle peer seen at races.
What do you say? Murder riddled peer.
Not murder riddle. Murder riddle.
He's riddled.
Oh, murder riddle.
Murder riddle peer. See that? It's Lord Lucan found.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
And then Lord Murder Riddle Peer found a racist. But then if you open it and read the story, there's a picture of the Grand National winner. So there's the horse and the rider, and everyone looking at the horse, and then right in the middle of the picture, looking directly at camera,
is the exact...
It's the exact same photograph of Lord Lucan that's always used.
Yeah.
So it's not...
Cut and paste.
It's an early... Yeah.
In the original way, where you cut
sense.
it and paste it.
Yeah. I mean, this newspaper it's like the US's Weekly World News. It doesn't have a reputation of being...
National Enquirer.
National Enquirer, yeah. So it had my favourite headline in the Sunday Sport was Loch Ness Monster is a Nazi U-boat, or the second favourite is London bus found on moon. So those kinds of stories you could imagine.
The
this
usual.
Is tame by any stage. He was formally declared dead in 1999.
Oh, okay.
And a death certificate was issued in 2016 when he would have been aged 81, which means that his son.
So 17 years to get a certificate.
Yeah, it's a long time, isn't it?
So he would have only have been 64 when he was officially dead.
Declared dead, yes.
Which is, I mean, it's a bit jumping the gun, but anyway, yeah. Obviously, hadn't been seen.
Well, I mean,
since
friends and even his wife said that, as a gentleman, he would have committed suicide.
How would they know that?
The honourable way out.
As a gentleman, you wouldn't bludgeon someone to death with a lead pipe.
Or bet away all your money, but as a gentleman.
No gentleman he.
Yeah, quite.
Now, the only thing I have in popular culture is a two-part British television drama which was made in 2013 called Lucan. And who would you suppose is in that? Well, I could tell you, as Lucky Lord Lucan himself, Rory Kinnear. And also in it is Christopher Eccleston.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I want the musical.
Why not?
Lucan ! I wonder what happened if he did turn up now, being legally dead. Is he now absolved of any crime? Because you can't try a dead person.
I don't know how that works. Can you come back to life? Was he technically a zombie? It's like some sort of Kafka-esque bureaucracy thing. So, no, sorry, you're not talking to me, you don't exist, you're dead.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not real. Anyway, if you find him...
let us know.
Yeah.
That's all for this time. If you want to know more about what we've talked about on this episode, then just Google it or something. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on our website. That's www.truecrimediary.co.uk. Please remember to leave a review on your podcast provider if you can, or you can email us. That's stuff@truecrimediary.co.uk. My thanks to Jed and Rue and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you again on next date in our True Crime Diary.